So here, this is Lord Potato, and this is what if Yuji Itadori had siblings? Part one, and yeah, I actually just thought of this like I thought of this for like 4 days, and just I didn't know how to name the title. I was like, what the fuck do I name the title? Okay, well I'm just gonna call it what if he had siblings. But other than that, I just really thought of this during, I don't know, just vibing to music, and then it just like clicked to me. Okay, I don't really know how my mind really fucking works half the damn time, but yeah. Other than that, I am doing still the older what ifs, but I also have rewatched what's it called part two of what if Luffy was Sukuna. So after this video, I'm going to do part three, and then after that, I'm gonna try to get one more what if of the older ones, squeeze in today, and just upload that. But other than that, go subscribe to Anime Sensei, Iconic What Ifs, and Obito What Ifs. The link will be in the description. But other than that, yeah, I don't know what else what to say. Go check out my second channel. I don't know. I mean, there's also the link in the description, but I don't think anyone will care. But let's continue on. So we go on to Yuji. Yuji would still eat Sukuna and other things would still happen in the original canon. Now, of course, this is where Yuji's kind of training with Gojo, because we would go at that time. Now, Yuji is training with Gojo, and Gojo is telling him how to use cursed energy and how to kind of release it and send it out. And yeah, Yuji, he accidentally sent, well, not accidentally, he was kind of just fighting against what's it called, Sukuna? I mean, not Sukuna, Gojo. And of course, I don't know why I said Sukuna. Gojo, and trying to like kick him and fight him until Yuji accidentally used, well, something that Gojo was surprised. Yuji actually used an actual, what's it called, like a little bit of a strike. Like Yuji's arm for some reason became black a little bit, and Gojo noticed that. And then Yuji turns it off really fast. Gojo kind of asks, what was that? This is where Yuji says, what was what? Huh? Wait, what are you talking about? This is where Gojo says, did you not, like, there was something black on your arm. This is where Yuji says, am I sick? What? No, I want to die. He says, what? Am I going to die or something? This is where Gojo says, no, let me see your arm for a second. Gojo's trying to look around with his six eyes to look around what the hell that was, but he can never find it. It was super odd for him to not find it. So, of course, this is where Yuji says, so what were you actually looking for? Gojo says, I have no clue. But whatever. This is where, well, we go into a time skip where, well, we fast forward mostly into Yuji kind of fighting against, well, Makihito, or whatever. Wait. Mahito kind of like still kind of fucking up what's called Yuji's kind of friend. Fuck, what was his name? I forget half of these what's called Jujutsu Kaisen characters, because I haven't really done a while Jujutsu Kaisen What If. So yeah, so it was. So Mahito still kind of like turning Junpei into a cursed creature, and of course this is where Yuji says, "Stop it! Just turn him back, Sukuna." This is where Sukuna does not want to, and this is where Yuji, he decides to fight against Mahito, and of course this is where, well, Nanami actually noticed something of Yuji. Yuji's arm did turn black for quite a good second. Even Mahito notices, and when he tries to, well, Mahito tried to like transform his soul away, that punch didn't hit his soul directly, but somehow still hit it. This is where Mahito goes, he coughed up blood. This is where Nanami thought that Yuji is basically the biggest counter to Mahito. So of course this is where, well, he kind of lets what's called Yuji still like hits multiple times, and Yuji actually knew, well, kind of what he kind of used for a second. This is where he turned it off super fast. This is where, well, he keeps fighting against Mahito, and of course, this is where, after the match of Mahito kind of escaping and all that, and Nanami kind of did ask Yuji about what was that. That's where Yuji says, what is what? I don't know what you're talking about. This where, well, he didn't say that. He says, what was, he passes out. So, of course, Nanami thinks that Yuji doesn't know what it is, but yeah. But we go into a somewhat, somewhat of a flashback, or mostly a distant memory that Yuji has. This is where Yuji, he was kind of a kid and, of course, talking to his grandfather, but also talking to two others who was actually Yuji's siblings. This is where Yuji says, "A big brother! Meet him, brother! Yeah!" So, yeah. I should also mention that, well, Yuji's hair is blonde, not pink. So, of course, it's kind of best blonde hair. So, yeah. Because if I can remember, that was actually the original hair color for the manga. That it was kind of like a blondish color and not pink. But, yeah. Of course, the other two siblings that he was seeing, or kind of in his memory, was two blonde head kids. One was the oldest, one was a little bit older, but Yuji kind of just called them big brothers. But yeah. Of course, this is where Yuji wakes up the next day, and of course, this is where he is feeling sad of Junpei, because he thought of Junpei of like, well, he kind of thought of Junpei as like a friend, but also like he kind of had, what's it called, that feeling of someone else that he knows. This is where, well, Yuji says, "It's okay, I'm fine." Nanami. This is where Nanami sees that Yuji's kind of fine, but still not that fine. So yeah, this is where, well, Nanami says you're not fine. You're still a kid, you know that. This is where Yuji says, probably you're right. So yeah. Now I should mention Yuji is 15. He is still 15 like original canon. He's not 16. Actually, no, I'm gonna change it. He is 16. Of course, we now do a time skip about 2 months before what's called the festival thing event. What is it fucking called? The fucking event. I forgot what it's called, but yeah. Of course, the event is happening. This is where Kyoto students and Tokyo students are happening. This is where Gojo says, "You know, we should put you in the box, Yuji. Yeah, let's do this." This is where Yuji says, "Yeah." So that will still go in original canon. But of course, this is where, well, the Kyoto students aren't really looking. So all like, what's it called, the blood user dude, the other people, what's it called, Total? Not Total. Not Togo. What's it called? So yeah, Total. I did say it right the first time. This is where Total is kind of just like wondering what the hell he just got. This is where a white-haired girl with kind of like bluish but at the same time kind of purplish eyes is kind of looking at Gojo confused, but of course looking at the strange thing that Gojo kind of got her. Basically, this is, well, Gojo's niece. Her name is Hakin Gojo, so yeah. This is where, well, she's just looking at Gojo, just confused, but yeah. Haki, did I call her Haki or Hakin? Haki. No, not Haki. Her name is, I'm gonna call it Umi instead. So yeah, she has kind of like icy blue hair, so yeah. Icy blue hair, but still white, and she just confused in what her uncle just got her. Of course, a girl next to her with what's called scarlet red hair and kind of like bluish eyes a little bit was confused also, and her name is Savannah. Of course, this is where, well, a girl with what's called blondish hair and, well, dull blue eyes are confused also and wondering what the hell this is. And this is where, well, everyone's confused what the hell did Gojo get them. But yeah, of course, this is where Urihime is kind of angry at what the hell Gojo is trying to pull and whatever bullshit. But yeah. Of course, this is where Yuji is kind of like nervous with what's it called. His teammates kind of looking at him like, I thought he was dead. Of course, the Kyoto students aren't really paying attention to Yuji until before the festival will happen, or not the festival, the event. The event of like the Kyoto versus Tokyo. Something happens. A man with a red tuxedo starts walking towards them. Red tuxedo and a like somewhat pink fur coat behind him. This is where he has blonde hair and has like these kind of red, white shades. Of course, he's walking towards the Kyoko and Tokyo students, but he ignores all of them. This is where Gojo noticed what's it called, a person's presence, and of course, this person is 10 feet tall. He is bigger than almost all of them. This is where, well, Yuji, he is kind of nervous and seeing that what's it called, Nobara and even Fujiwara are kind of glaring at him until Yuji felt that presence. Because he kind of uses observation hawking because he did not want to feel that presence. He knew who that person is. This is where, well, the old man still did scream at Yuji because why he's alive, but he was confused in who this person with the tuxedo came. This is where Gojo says, huh? Do I need to know you? This is where the person just keeps looking at Yuji, and Gojo even noticed that. This is where Gojo stands in front of, well, Yuji and says, are you looking for someone? This is where the person says, yeah, the kid behind you. I need you to move. This is where Yuji's sweat dropping. The voice, he knows who it is. He is terrified. This is where both Nobara and Fujiwara notice what's it called, Yuji sweating a little bit more than what's it called, well, normal. He was sweating because he was like, not sweating, he was kind of just like sweating and kind of showing that, shit, probably should have told him. But of course, he's sweating more. He's kind of not afraid, but terrified a little bit more in his face. This is where Gojo says, sorry, but I can't let you go to Yuji. This is where the person says, then, if that's so true, then I'm about to knock you out to get him. This is where before Gojo says, oh, I see, so you're gonna probably try to kill me. This is where Orihime was about to like jump in, and of course the principal, because they don't know who this person is. He just walked in like he just owned the place. Now of course this is where, well, Gojo was about to like jump in until Yuji like got out of the box and said, stop, please. This is where Gojo stopped for a second and says, Yuji, what is wrong? Besides, you just get behind me. Don't worry, I'll take this guy out so easily. I'm stronger than him. This is where Yuji walks past Gojo. This is where Yuji stands in front of the person, the tall figure. This is where Yuji says, stop, big brother. This is where Gojo goes, wait, what? Everyone goes, huh? This is where Fujiwara and Nobara say, big brother, what? This is where the person says, Yuji. How many times have I told you to stay out of trouble? This is where Yuji says, too hungry, but who's counting? Yuji's kind of trying to make this a lighter mood, but he's actually is kind of terrified how his brother even found out where he even went to. Because Yuji tried to, well, make sure that he goes to different schools entirely. And of course, still try to make sure that he kind of gave letters into someone, but to make sure that he's still at this same school and all that. But he's terrified the fact that his older brother found out where he kind of went. That's where Yuji says 200 times, but who's counting really? This is where, well, his older brother says, like I told you, how many damn times? Let's say 201 now. This is where Yuji smiles a little bit. This is where the older person just looks at him and smiles also. Kind of grins. But this is where, well, the person says, Yuji, let's go. You realize that also, what's it called? My younger brother, or, you know, the middle child brother, is also worried about you. This is where, well, Yuji says, I know. Wait, can I know, how did he find me exactly? I do remember sending you that I was still in the other school. How did he know I went to this school? This is where Doflamingo says, because this is Doflamingo. His oldest brother is named Doflamingo, so yeah. If you didn't think of who this person was, this is Doflamingo. Yes, he's gonna be the semblance of, well, the, what's it called? Doflamingo and, well, Doflamingo looks at him and says, Yuji, I'm not stupid. I know what's called Jujutsu Kai is. And that, well, one of the family members saw you. This is where Yuji knows what what's it called, Doflamingo is talking about. Family members. Even though they're not like actual related blood, but what's it called? He knows about what's it called? Well, Doflamingo's gang. This is where, well, we go into a distant memory in the flashback of Yuji. This is where Yuji, he is younger, but he's like 12 still, and kind of being next to his like grandfather. His grandfather is arguing with Doflamingo and not to do this gang stuff and not to become like this gang member and stay in school and all that. Doflamingo at that time was actually 18 because when Yuji was born, well, what's it called? Doflamingo is actually what's it called? Doflamingo is 24 years old, and he was actually what's it called? The age of, well, when Yuji was 12, he was actually, well, 16. Now, of course, this is where he kind of ignored what's it called? Well, grandfather's kind of advice and not to become this gang member. But of course, he just ignored him and went on to live on his life. This is where the other brother decides to follow somewhat Doflamingo and then promise grandfather to kind of stop what's it called? Well, Doflamingo from doing anything rash. This is where the other brother's name is, well, Rocinante. So yeah. This is where, well, Rocinante says, don't worry, brother. Not brother, grandfather. I will promise to take care of, well, Doflamingo. And Rocinante was at the age of, well, not 4. What's it called? Not 4. What's it called? Doflamingo was 20. Rocinante was 16. This is where, well, Rocinante still promised his grandfather that he would definitely try to take care of Doflamingo from doing anything stupid. But yeah, this is where Yuji's grandfather sighs. At least he has Yuji with him because Doflamingo did not want to take Yuji with him. He wanted Yuji to stay out of trouble and not to do the same thing as what him and Rocinante do. So of course Yuji kind of remembers that memory, and of course this is where Yuji kind of looks at Doflamingo. And this is where Yuji says, but I'm still too young to be in the family, wouldn't I? Doflamingo says, huh? Too young? If I remember right, Rocinante was the same age as you when he followed me. So you'd be fine. This is where Yuji kind of regrets even with the car saying that because he knows that Rocinante was 16 at that time. This is where everyone is confused in what is happening, but this is where Gojo, he is more confused. He never knew Yuji had any siblings because Yuji never talked about them at all. Nobara and Fujigoro are even more confused. Everyone's so damn confused. This is where Yuji says, but brother, I can't join the family because this is where Doflamingo have a demon inside him. Oh, I know all about it. Sukuna, the king of curses, if I remember right. You ate it. I think you ate 2 fingers, if I can remember right. You have about 2 fingers inside you. Yeah, I managed to get information from some what's it called? Some Jujutsu sorcerers. Yuji kind of gets kind of shakes a little bit because he probably thinks that Doflamingo does something to them. Here's where Doflamingo says, oh, if you want to know what I did to them, I tortured them before I killed them. So, of course, I do know about Sukuna inside of you. But I still don't care. You're still coming with me since you're my little brother and I need to keep an eye on you so you won't go to something crazy. This is where Yuji says, but I still have Sukuna. It's dangerous, and I don't want to hurt Rocinante or you, Doflamingo. This is where Doflamingo sighs and says, you won't be able to hurt me. Besides, I wouldn't even let Sukuna take control of my little brother. He says it in such a dark tone. But this is where Gojo kind of comes in and says, whatever seals you will put on Yuji will never work. He says to Doflamingo. Doflamingo chuckles. He goes, Doflamingo is just laughing. like a madman. This is where Gojo's confused because he doesn't say a joke. He was like serious. This is where Yuji, he's trying to think of every possible thought because he knows Doflamingo's a fucking genius. He knows that Doflamingo's smart. He knew that his oldest brother was actually one of the smartest people in his family. He doesn't know about his mom or dad, but he knew that his oldest brother was actually such a genius. Such a genius in science and other things, that not even him or Rosinante would be smart enough to do science. But of course, Doflamingo on the other hand was such a smart person. But this is where Doflamingo stops laughing and says, "Oh, I'm sorry there, you must be Gojo Satoru. I didn't say anything to you because I really didn't care. Even if you're the strongest and the most powerful, I still wouldn't care that much. You're probably the reason why he has 2 fingers in the first place." This is where Gojo says, "What do you mean?" "Oh, you think I don't know? I do keep a little bit of spies around Yuji. And I remember you making him eat that finger. So, in the, when he was kind of cremating our grandfather. You think I'm stupid, Gojo Satoru?" This is where Gojo, he kind of looks at Yuji, then looks at Doflamingo near his eyes. Well, you can't really see it, but Doflamingo knows he's near his eyes because he's using observation hawking. This is where Doflamingo laugh a little bit more. This is where, Doflamingo says, "But I have a way in to get Sukuna out." This is where Yuji says, "Wait, what do you..." This is where strings all appear all next to him. Gojo could not react fast enough to get Yuji away from the strings, but these strings weren't hurting Yuji entirely. They looked like they were dull, not sharpened. This is where, Doflamingo pulls Yuji towards him. This is where Yuji knew what doesn't know what Doflamingo just used. He knew a little bit about armament hawking, observation hawking, and even conquerors hawking, because Doflamingo has kind of taught him over when he was 14, and Doflamingo was like 22. But of course, just a little bit of messages and other things like that. But he doesn't know what Doflamingo just did to pull him. Now, Doflamingo will still have the Ito no Mi. Rosinante will still have his own devil fruit. This is where, Doflamingo says, "So, Yuji, how do you like the little airtime you got there?" This is where Gojo says, "What the? That wasn't cursed energy. I didn't sense any of it. What the hell did you use, blonde he?" This is where, Doflamingo says, Doflamingo just says, "Oh, if you want to know what I use, it's something called a devil fruit. Me and my family found out about these devil fruits a long time ago." This is where Yuji's confused with devil fruits. What the hell are they? So yes, is One Piece and Jujutsu Kaisen gonna be a crossover? Kinda, basically, yeah. So devil fruits happen into this world of Jujutsu Kaisen. So yeah, this is where Gojo says, "What the hell's a devil fruit?" This is where Doflamingo says, "Oh, devil fruits. Well, they were the main power before any of these cursed energy or using of sorcery." Besides, devil fruits has been here for a long time, and the one that I have is called Ito no Mi. String. The string devil fruit. It's such an interesting devil fruit. I can either make the strings be very sharp and cut through anything, or I can make them very dull and grab anything, like my little brother. This is where Yuji says, "But, brother, what about soup?" This is where, Gojo says, not Gojo, Doflamingo says, "Shh, I know what to do." This is where, Yuji's confused. This is where, Doflamingo kind of just uses a string to cut everything, like his whole jacket and shirt, and still leave his pants and other things, but mostly his shirt and jacket to kind of show his chest. And this is where Doflamingo says, "Now, go law." This is where a person with a kind of white hat but with spots up here, having a yellow jacket but also yellow and black, a sword, and of course where he says room from a far distance. Of course, appeared next to Yuji by switching spots with Doflamingo and him. And of course, he had this like greenish lightning. Well, what's it called? This green lightning in his hand. He stabs it into Yuji, but of course, this is where he then said, "Medical style." Well, not medical style. Opa opa ni no mi. Medical style. Medical surgery. This is where he pulls out his sword and slices through multiple times of Yuji. But of course, Yuji was paralyzed and could not move at all. And of course, this is where, Law saw what's it called, the fingers, and rips them out of what's it called, Yuji's stomach. But this is where he then says, Hopoponumi healing style. This is where he heals what's it called, Yuji, and does fix him back and put him all together. Like, he cuts him into a million pieces, then, like, finds out where the fingers are at, and then just gets him out, and then just heals him back together and puts him back all together. And this is where Law, he then uses, what's it called, then just snaps his finger and then just switches with what's it called, Doflamingo. And Doflamingo kind of grabs the fingers that were falling from the air. This is where Law is kind of just very far, but of course he just decides to start running away. This is where Yuji goes, what the hell? This is where he looks at Doflamingo. He notices the two fingers. And this is where Yuji says, brother, no. This is where Doflamingo throws them at Gojo in high speeds. This is where Gojo managed to catch him by using Limitless. And of course, this is where Gojo's shocked, wide in his eyes. The two fingers of Sukuna right now just on his hand. And of course, he looks at Yuji, and Yuji no longer has Sukuna with him. This is where Yuji says, brother, why? Wait, how? This is where Doflamingo, like, crouches down to grab Yuji. And this is where Yuji says, wait, what are you doing? This is where, what's it called? Doflamingo takes something from, somewhere in his coat. What's it called? He takes something from his coat because he also did have a black coat over him. But the, fursuit coat he did also have. This is where he takes something. He takes out a blue looking fruit. A blue fruit with kind of black patterns, and of course it was odd to Yuji. Yuji said, what is that? This is where Doflamingo just shoves the devil fruit into Yuji's mouth. Yuji is trying to struggle to eat it, and of course he manages to swallow it all. It's where Yuji says, it tastes even worse than the goddamn fingers. This is where Yuji said, what the hell is wrong with you? He looks at his oldest brother, kind of glaring at him. This is where Doflamingo laughs a little bit and says, well, you're now part of the family because you now have a devil fruit. This is where Yuji said, oh, what? Wait, that blue looking fruit, that was a devil fruit? And you just shoved it in my mouth and making me eat it? Then again, it's like you eat fingers. So, I mean, the taste must be the same. This is where Yuji is going, you fuck. This is Doflamingo says, whatever. You're fine, Yuji. Now let's go. Since, you don't have any connections to Jujutsu Kai no more. What's it called? To Jujutsu Kai or any of the Jujutsu sorcerers here now. Because you're not part of Jujutsu Kai no more. I took you out of the list. I took you out of what's it called? The list of, sorcery. So your name will no longer be in Jujutsu High or anything. Also, since you don't have Sukuna fingers, you're no longer connected with anyone. And not connected to these bastards. This is where Yuji saying, what the hell? Can I still know what the hell you feed me? This is where Gojo kind of appeared right in front of Yuji. And of course tries to grab Yuji, but of course strings started appearing all sharp. And of course stops Gojo. Gojo's limitless, even though it's, stopping any attacks from grabbing what's called Yuji, and could probably shove his hand through it. For some reason, he couldn't use Limitless to grab Yuji because all the strings turned black, stopping Gojo from even touching Yuji. This is where Gojo widened his eyes, and this is where Doflamingo turns his leg into armament hockey and kicks through the limitless and hits Gojo. Gojo widens his eyes and gets thrown into a couple of trees. This is where all of them widen their eyes. Everyone, the Tokyo students and the Kyoto students. This is where they didn't think Yuji was some part of this big mafia gang or whatever boss. And of course, knowing that Yuji's brother just beat the crap out of, Gojo, it's kind of scary for them. At the same time, they're not going to let Yuji be taken. This is where Yuji says, "Stop, brother." This is where, Doflamingo says, "I'll explain later how I managed to take the Sukuna fingers out of you. Just a couple of research and knowledge and all that. But I'll teach you my ways and how I took it away from you. Besides, I wasn't the only one that agreed with you being taken out of Jujutsu High." That's where Yuji widens his eyes and looks at Doflamingo with just pure distraught in his eyes and even his face. This is where Yuji knows who's the other person that kind of probably agree upon this. And that is Rosinante. He said, "But Rosinante would never cared, but at the same time wouldn't get into my business like you." This is where Doflamingo smiles and says, but he will. If he knew about an execution problem. You think we don't know? We're gonna try to save you some time, Yuji, and not get your execution happen ever. This is where, Yuji widened his eyes even more. Now knowing that Doflamingo has some people inside Jujutsu High, knowing all the information, finding out about Yuji's, existence of getting executed when he collects all 20 fingers of Sukuna. That's where Yuji says, "But how would you..." He paused and he figured all that out. That's where Doflamingo says, "Oh, you're processing it through your mind. You're finally using that head for once, Yuji. Besides, I wouldn't let my little brother get executed any damn time." This is where the old man sees that everyone is going in commotion, but sees that Yuji's no longer Sukuna but doesn't care. Since Yuji could be a possible vessel or anything, abuse any weapons, this is where the old man rushes at Yuji to try to intend to kill him fully. Like, he drops the case that he has a case and all. He drops the case, not the case. He kind of rushes at Yuji and through Flamingo. Kind of just rushes by Flamingo and kind of tries to intend to stab Yuji. Because that cane actually has a secret sword. Because he doesn't want Yuji to live. So this is where he tries to stab Yuji. But when the sword connected with Yuji's kind of head, it kind of just went through. Well, not head, mostly heart. It just went through, fully through. Like the sword just went through. Even when the old man just pulled his cane blade away out of Yuji, he realized that the heart just heals in a rapid instant. Not healed. And mostly the sword didn't go through Yuji to kill him, to pierce him. Because, Yuji is now a Logia type Devil Fruit user. This is where the lightning starts sparking off with Yuji. Yuji's hand became kind of coated in lightning. And Yuji says, "What is happening?" This is where Doflamingo says, "Oh, I see. So I'm guessing that blue Devil Fruit that we gave you it's something that we wanted to give you for the longest time. Me and Rosinante trying to figure out what Devil Fruit we should give you. The most powerful, at least. Or the strongest, at least. Rosinante thought of giving you a magma one. And then I thought of giving you an ice one. Then he thought of giving you a light one. And then I thought of giving you a darkness one. And then we came to the conclusion of giving you a lightning one. This Devil Fruit is called a Rumble Rumble no Mi. Basically... not the Rumble. The Goro no Mi. Meaning lightning. So, you are now a lightning man. no longer able to be hurt by any type of weapon. Besides, you're my little brother. I will make sure that every weapon faces through you. I did wanted to give you the darkness, but realized that would still hurt you. I realized I wanted to give you the Rosanante wanted to give you the light, but that wouldn't hurt anyone else. Well, unless you want to go straight for your rest of your life and trying to figure out how to use the devil fruit. Giving the magma might kind of burn your clothes. Giving the ice will kind of freeze a lot of things. So we instead choose the lightning one. So, yeah. This is where, well, Yuji looks at what's called Doflamingo. And of course, he is okay with the lightning powers, but he doesn't know how to feel about this. He's going to leave Jujutsu Kai forever because his brothers don't want them to be executed, and he can't save people. And this is where Doflamingo, it looks like Doflamingo might have been reading his mind. Here's where Doflamingo says, oh, seeing your friends, yeah, you might not see them ever again, but protecting people, I mean, you'd be much easier. You wouldn't need, well, you can use the basic cursed energy, right? Kind of cursed energy that man trained you. Well, I don't really know if he trained you or not, but you guys are kind of close. But you can still use cursed energy, but with the lightning enhancing your, well, what's it called, speed, strength, and other things, you probably won't be able to get hurt by any of the cursed spirits. And besides, you can see them, you can crush them, you can kill them, and still save a lot of people. Wouldn't you think about it? Come on, follow me, little brother. That's where Yuji started going and reaching his hand towards what's called Doflamingo. Until, well, the old man says, oh, no, you don't. And decides to try to stab Doflamingo. Doflamingo says, Ito no me. String, what's it called? This is where he says string, coffin. That's where a bunch of strings are appearing around the old man. And this is where he crushes his hand, like basically put his hand into a fist motion. And that's where the old man gets cut into 1,000,000 pieces. This is where Doflamingo says, don't piss me off when I'm talking to my little brother. This is where everyone widened their eyes and just like, damn. God damn it, Yuji's brother is just strong right now. This is where Fujiwara says, no, Yuji, don't listen to him. This is where he managed to snap out of the phase of like, what the hell's happening. This is where Fujiwara says, what's it called, demon dogs. And this is where the, what, demon dogs or shadow dogs? I forgot. This is where he sends out the big demon dog. And, well, was it Shadow Wolf? Demon dog? Or whatever. He kind of rushes at what's it called, Doflamingo, intending to kind of cut Doflamingo until Yuji stopped the claw attack from hitting Doflamingo. This is where Yuji says, I'm sorry, what's it called, Fujiwara, but I can't let you attack my brother. This is where Nobras decides to throw what's called nails at Yuji to mostly go around him and try to hit Doflamingo until Doflamingo just cuts through them. This is where, well, Fujiwara and Nobras says, stop this, Yuji, just stop this. Just tell your brother to kind of go away in a nice manner. That's where Yuji says no, because I made my decision. I would go along with him. This is where, well, the other Kyoko students realize that the old man is dead, and Toto appears to try to punch at what's it called, Yuji, until a man came out of nowhere. And this man is named, what's it called? A tall man kind of blocked Toto's punch. Because Toto rushes out because he saw the old man dead. This is where he tries to intend to kill what's it called, both Yuji and what's it called, well, Doflamingo. Doflamingo appear right in front of Yuji, intending to kill this man, until a man appear right in front of Toto's punch, taking the punch like a beast. And of course, this man has like short black hair, black beard. And of course, where, well, he has shades. He has like something over, well, one of his cheeks and all that. A fish looking thing on one of his shades, but yeah. Of course, this man is named Virgo. Virgo. Who is basically one of like not helper, mostly an ally to Doflamingo. And of course, this man just takes the punch. And this is where he turns his arm into Armament Hawking and punches the shit out of Toto so hard, smashing him into, well, a couple of just the ground, making him eat fucking dirt. It literally, and just, yeah. Virgo says, "Are you okay, Donkey Doflamingo?" Doflamingo says, "I am." Here's where Yuji says, "Donkey? What the hell is that name?" This is where Doflamingo says, "Oh, it's going to be your new last name, Yuji." This is where Yuji says, "But I like Itadori." This is where, well, Doflamingo, I don't care. You're gonna be named Donkey and shush. This is where Yuji says, "But why?" This is where Doflamingo says, "You're not doing any adorable stuff. Because I know one thing, you're too old enough to even do any adorable things, so shush." This is where, well, Yuji sad, yeah. Of course, is where, well, Virgo says, "You two can go. I'll take on all of these people." This is where, well, a girl with blonde hair and I say dope blue eyes did kind of rushes past. Well, not rushes past. Doesn't even do anything. She can't really do anything. There's not really the ability for her emotions to actually work. So yeah. Of course, this is where Toto got back up and rushes at the man and trying to intend to beat his ass. This is where Virgo is easily blocking all the attacks and decides to beat the crap out of Toto. He decides to beat the crap out of Toto, just like how original canon Virgo would kind of just beat the crap out of his enemies so brutally, like it looked like they're dead already. So of course that's what he does to Toto. And of course, this is where the others start fighting. Panda decides to try to fight against Verdo. Well, not Verdo. Virgo. And of course, Virgo blocks the attack. This is where Togo says, "A blast away." This is where, well, Virgo notices and does like smashes both his legs into the ground so he won't be blasting away. This is where, well, everyone starts trying to help. To try to grab, well, Yuji or kill Yuji. Because, well, some of them doesn't like Yuji and some of them was promised to kill Yuji and all that. Because even though he's not Sukuna's incarnation no more, he is still a problem. This is where, well, someone says, "Room." So this is where Law comes back. But this is where he comes back with someone else. This is where, well, this person rushes fast forwards to grab Yuji and hug him. This is where he's like, "Yuji, I miss you so much." This is where, well, this person still has kind of a cigarette and kind of smoking on, and he has a black fur coat, I should mention, but yeah. And of course, this is where he has like a heart shirt and all that. Like mostly a heart shirt, and yes, this is Rosanante. This is where he says, "I miss you so much." This is where Yuji says, "Rosanante, brother, you're killing me." This is where the flamingo says, "Rosanante, you're killing the boy." This is where Rosanante lets go of Yuji, and Yuji goes, "Why? Why will you do that to me?" This is where Rosanante says, "Because you're adorable, and I would never let my little brother get hurt." This is where, well, the person named Law says "room" and does block a couple of attacks and didn't slice through them. He mostly blocks them and just pushed them away. So yeah, this is where, well, Toto kind of claps his hand to switches with what's called Law and tries to punch at Virgo, but this is where Law then uses room to switch his place again, and Toto decides to punch at the panda. Because, yes, Law was next to the panda when he kind of switches places. This is where Toto realized that this person can definitely switch places. And, of course, shown to. But, of course, he didn't see it when Yuji was being taken out with the Sukuna fingers. But, yeah. This is where Law appears and says, "Sorry, but I will not let you hurt Virgo-sama." Virgo-sama. Even though Law kind of hates Virgo. This is where Virgo says, "Hey, I'm your fucking, what's it called? Your superior. You should definitely call me what a proper name is." Law says, "Fuck you." This is where Virgo gets angry. And this is where Law, like, goes behind what's called, well, Rosinante. This is where Virgo says, "Fuck." But yeah. This is where both what's called, well, everyone kind of sees that there's a problem. This is where the principal kind of raises up his hand and says, "Everyone stop fighting." I can see that you want your brother, Donkey Doflamingo. How about you make a kind of, let's see, a deal. This is where, what's it called? The blonde haired girl, the whitish blue haired girl, and well, her friend with scarlet red hair already tried to attack Yuji from behind. And this is where, well, Doflamingo tries to turn around to use his strings, and even Rocinante to use his own devil fruit to grab or, well, silence both of them and, well, killing them by Doflamingo using his string. This is where Yuji kind of uses lightning already and kind of shocks him off by just kind of grabbing them and kind of pushing them down because he knew what Doflamingo and Rocinante were going to do. This is where Yuji says, "Can you two stop trying to kill them?" This is where the girls were kind of flustered and blushing the fact that Yuji's on top of them. And of course, this is where a girl with blonde hair is saying, can you please get off of me? This is where the girl with bluish hair, his name was called Umi, kind of just said, yeah, can you get off of me? This is where the other girl, she's flustered and says, yeah, get off of me also. This is where Yuji says, oh, I'm sorry. This is where, well, the principal says, can you all stop attacking him? Clearly, you won't be able to kill him even if you damn try. This is where Virgo, he decides to want to punch with Toto again because he was getting back up. And Virgo was saying, I see a man like you is surely showing a lot of resistance. Toto says, because the shit is fun. But please tell me, all 5 of you, what is your type of woman? This is where, well, Doflamingo looks at him. What the fuck? Rocinante says, oh, my type of woman is a big, curvy, nice girl. Yes, I feel like that's what Rocinante would kind of say. That's a joke and all that. This is where Toto says, I see. What about you two? This is where Virgo kind of ignores him and says, what I care is what I care. None of your damn business, says Virgo. This is where Law says, Now I should mention one thing. Law kind of does look like Law in original canon for One Piece, but of course he's 16, so of course he looks kind of younger. Of course he is kind of just looking at both Toto and Rocinante, and this is where Rocinante's kind of looks at him smiling with a like big grin. And Rocinante is going to say something stupid, and Law kind of goes in hand signs and says, don't you dare, you fuck. This is where Rocinante says, oh, what Law likes is the same thing like me. This is where Law goes, no, not that. This is where Law looks around and kind of just points at, well, Nobra, and says she will be the type of woman that I would probably like. This is where Nobra goes, me? Me? Huh? This is where she kind of flusters and kind of like goes behind Fujigaro for cover, but yeah, she's kind of like going just fluster. Yeah, she's just blushing. She's just shocked that the person she was gonna fight just showed that she was interested in her. But yeah, this is where, well, then what's called Toto says, what about you, Yuji, Donksy? Is that what I'm gonna call you now? This is where Yuji says, no, call me Itadori. This is where Doflamingo says, yes, call him Donksy. This is where Rocinante says, yeah, call him that also. This is where Yuji says, you fucks. My likes are, well, Yuji's, he would have said it in such an instant by being normal, like in original canon, but in this time he kind of just points behind with like the 3 of them, of those girls. And of course they all kind of go flustered because they were shocked that Yuji would kind of point at them. But yeah. This is where Toto says, I mean, you don't have bad taste neither. You two, on the other hand, won't tell me what it is, but I'll find out. Virgo says, yeah, you will try to find out until I beat you to a half death. Well, yeah, you can probably find out later, but yeah, when you're dead or something. Definitely gonna say, if you even try to touch me, I will cut you into a million pieces. But yeah. Of course, is where, well, Toro says, it doesn't matter. I'll find out one way or another. This is where he says, I'll find out either you're a born person or you have good taste. This is where, well, this is where he says, yeah. The principal says, okay, shut up already. Don't you Doflamingo. I want to make a deal. You still let Yuji kind of be in the event, and you can stay and watch what happens if you don't kill any of my students anymore. And you'll let Yuji kind of stay in the event, please? Well, the principal doesn't say please. This is where Yuji says please. This is where Donkey Doflamingo looks at his brother, and his brother kind of just says, I mean, sure. That's where what's it called? Doflamingo kind of just like, not Donkey. Doflamingo kind of just says, he just hits his forehead and says, fine. Fine. Yuji, you will get to stay. Now, Law, you will also be in the goddamn event. Because you need to really teach what's called Yuji how to use his devil fruit. And not to accidentally kill someone in an accident. Then again, I wouldn't mind. This is where Yuji says, hey! This is where Donkey's, mostly Doflamingo just says, whatever. Let's go, Razanante. Let's go see what Yuji will be able to do with his newfound power. Virgo let's also go. Virgo does follow, yeah. This is where Gojo wakes up and says, what the hell just happened? Urahime just says, you idiot. You got kicked. This is where Gojo says, well, what the hell do we do with the fingers? I don't know. Not give them to Yuji. Yuji's pretty capable in showing that he's strong. Without the fingers. Now, don't give him the fingers and nothing else will happen. Okay? This is where Gojo says, can you carry me, senpai? This is where Urahime punches him in the freaking head. And of course he said, okay, I can see that you're angry. Let's just go already. This is where, well, Gojo and Gojo and Urahime does go towards where the staff will be at. Except for the old man is dead, but yeah. But of course, this is where I'm going to leave it off for part 1 of What If Yuji Itadori had siblings, or mostly brothers. But yeah, other than that, bye-bye, potato, and yeah. I don't know, bye-bye. Yeah, bye.